Uh-oh.
Are we live?
We live. How's it going, guys? It is Wednesday, so what day is that?
Married like a champ.
I thought it was hump day. Middle of the week, hump day.
Gotcha. No. Married like a champ.
What day is it? Hump day.
There we go.
The camel?
Oh, that's right. What commercials are those? I don't even remember.
Netflix or something? I don't even know.
I don't think it's Netflix.
How's it going, guys? So, it looks like we're populating some folks. So it is Wednesday. So it is Married Like a Champ. How's everybody doing out there? Oh, look. Did you see that? What is that? Sorry, I'm learning something new. Ah, wow. Very cool. Awesome.
I don't actually know what we're looking at because I can't.
That's the people that are with us. I
Oh,
didn't
cool.
know you could do that.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Nice. Hey, guys. Super cool. I can move it over and see like your profile pics. Wow. Hey, Mallory. How's it going? So Married Like a Champ. I'm going to be honest with you guys. We're almost shooting off the hip tonight because time has gotten away from us this week. It's just been a busy week with 2 testings the last 2 weekends at 2 of our main schools and just a lot going on. Hey, the Marfield family. How's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hey, Mr. Chris, Rob McCullen. Good evening, Rob. Awesome. Mr. Lee Buckenstead. Lee.
Nice.
Good to see you on, brother. Okay, so we're almost shooting off the hip a little bit, but I've always got something
Okay, so yes.
in reserve.
So we may not be shooting off the hip, but I actually have no clue what we're talking about. So what are we talking about?
I like it that way. So I have a distinct advantage. So I was taught a long time ago, always win, always out prepare, and always have the
We're not in
advantage.
competition, sir. Have you not been listening to the Married Like a Champ series?
We're not?
We are not.
I was going to whoop your butt tonight. What the heck? I thought we were a competition here. So anyway, so I wanted to share something with you. I made the post on there. Hey, Mr. Boland, how's it going, sir? I want to make the talk tonight about, I made the post, I always work harder when. I always work harder when. Fill in the blank, you know? When do you work your hardest? And I'm going to tie this kind of to our little workout videos that we do sometimes that we post just as encouragement. You know, we don't post this out there to gloat or anything else. Me, I, and the mouse in my pocket, we enjoy training together with my wife. Do you
I like it okay too. You're all right.
Sometimes it's hard to get distracted because I watch her instead of working out. But anyway, I think that's a good thing. I'm not sure.
I think it
right?
is.
Okay,
It's a
cool.
good thing.
So I always work harder when. For me, I always work harder when my wife is training with me. And so that's why part of the reason we do those, we do these little workout videos just kind of randomly when we're at the gym or maybe at the martial arts school, and we share those. And I think that I think if you're married, if you have even a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, if you really think deep about it, when do you do your best? So like when you're dating, you put on your very best front, your best foot forward, you're always spit shine and polished, right? And then you get married, and a couple of years in, we begin to potentially build some contempt with this expectation that they're just going to be there because we're married, and we begin to quit brushing our teeth, man.
I have not stopped brushing my teeth, sir.
But you get my point, right? So we begin to kind of get a little lazy and just kind of take it for granted, and so that they're going to be there.
Like, don't stop shaving your legs. That's gross.
I'm thankful for my honey. I'm just going to say. So anyway, guys, I personally always work harder when my wife is in the room. So, even training for years, hey, Big John, how are you? For years, training for, performances, world records, or whether it was fighting, breaking, anything I did, I always wanted Glenn Ann in the room with me. And it just makes me try harder. And the reason I talked about, when you're dating, we kind of put our best foot forward. We put on the good front. We're always at our best behavior.
You're interested. You can't just be interested whenever you're trying to, hook somebody.
for instance, whenever, you're dating, you might hear the guy say something like, "Oh, honey, I love shopping. Handbags are my favorite. I would love to go with you, right?" And then a year or so after marriage, all of a sudden it's like, shopping? Are you kidding me? I don't want to go do that, right? And you know, you might hear, you know, the girlfriend say something like, "Oh, I love getting up at 3 a.m. and sitting in the deer stand with the freezing cold weather, waiting for the first deer to go by. You know, it's so awesome," right? Do you ever hear those things? No. Now, in the dating process, maybe so. So my point is in that dating process, we put our best foot forward, and we're always working super hard to make it work. But then when we get married, sometimes all of us, we kind of just begin to take it for granted. Well, we're married. We're one now. We're together. We're stuck. You know, I think we kind of forget that we have to put effort in loving each other, you know, being romantic or kind of pursuing, chasing each other, that sort of thing. And I think it's hugely important when we think about that. So, you know, I'm going to kind of try to tie this back together with the workout videos. I know for me personally, I'll give you today. So today, Glenann was, her back was bothering a little bit, and we did, you know, went and did a little workout together. And there were a couple of times she said, "Hey, I'm going to go into this aerobics room and use one of those foam rollers and kind of work on my back a little bit." And when she would leave, I seriously would feel myself kind of wilt a little bit and be like, I'm going to get it done. But I didn't really put as much into it as if she was standing there with me. And it's not a needy thing. It's not like I need her to hold my hand. It's kind of that boy side. Like, I want her to see me be strong. You know, I want to see me to do good because, you know, honestly, I still want to impress her, right? I want her to want to come back home with me. I want her to want to desire, you know. And so I wanted to share that with you because I want you all to think about, you know, times that you've been working on something, performing something, doing something, and your spouse is watching. Don't you work a little harder? Don't you kind of in the back of your mind, you kind of wish and hope for, I hope they noticed. I hope that they comment or compliment or, you know, on what I've done. We all do. I think it's just natural. So,
well, and I think kind of the key to that is you notice things that they do that, I mean, we enjoy working out together, but there are other things that Chip will do that may not be like my favorite thing to do, but if he's done a good job at something, I, you know, make a point to actually notice that instead of only appreciating the things that he does that I like, if that makes sense. Absolutely. So it would be kind of like the only time that I'm actually there supporting is, you know, say I didn't enjoy working out, but I did with him, and I was like, okay, you know, it just, you have to, it's a two-way
There's some
thing.
Sacrifice, right?
Yeah, it's not, you don't just appreciate and acknowledge the things that you love. You appreciate the things that they love too. So
right. And you know, so one of the things I kind of put in my quick little notes I threw together right before we start is something that we talk with our demo team, our pro team, as they perform and do different things kind of through the year. We use this saying, we just say, remember the feeling. And so what happens is typically once a year, we've missed some years, they'll compete at the world level. And so there's months of training going into it, extra dieting, extra outside, you know, running and bleachers and plyometrics, and then class training and martial arts training and traditional training, all these things that we grind them to do, and then they go perform. And whenever you're performing and you're on stage, it's kind of like when you're dating and you're just excited. You're thinking, I just can't wait to get off work because I'm going to get to see her or see him. I can't wait for that phone to ring. I can't wait to have that conversation and be able to plan the next time we get together. You know, there's all these things going on. And so what we tell our team is this, because we're, you know, 5 months out from the next year's competition, we go, hey guys, it's time to start the grind. And a lot of times you kind of see you know, you can feel the room drop a touch, and we go, hey, but do you remember that feeling of being in the spotlight? Go close your eyes and go back in your mind and remember walking off the stage and some little kid knee-high to a grasshopper looking at you saying, you're awesome, or you're my hero, or I'm doing this because of you. And so we encourage them to remember that feeling, and remembering that feeling fuels their fire to get back in and train and sacrifice, right? So I want to encourage you in your marriage, we have to do the same thing. So, you know, sometimes we have to remember, what was it like, you know, the first times you did things together. What was it like that first year when you're trying so hard to make each other happy? What was it like, and you're on your best foot forward at all times? And remember that feeling, not only when you were doing it for your spouse, but when your spouse was doing it for you, and how exciting that was. And I think sometimes that can help ground us and get us kind of excited and fired up to do it again now. Because after 20...
The little piece that you can never do with that, though, is to go, well, you used to. It's not, that's a different thing than remember the feeling, because sometimes people can get into that, well, you used to do this, well, you used to be like this, or you used to, man, that's just, you're asking for a battle.
My biggest thing with that, and this is huge in the martial arts, and this is huge. I have instructors that struggle with this every day. Boy, remember back in the day when we did this, and this, and it was so awesome. When today we produce better students, have a better atmosphere and culture than we've ever had in 20-something years of our business. Not saying that what we did then wasn't good, but what we do now tends to get better if we work hard at it and we're passionate about it. And so
remember,
my advice is this.
The feeling is not, it's not a living in the past.
Bingo.
It's a different mindset.
Get out of the past.
Than that. Yeah.
Hillbilly. Just quit living back there, man. You're dying. We want to reflect on the past, 5%, maybe 10 max, because we learned from our past. And we want to look into the future, maybe 5 or 10%. We want to spend the other 80 to 90, 95% of our life in the present. It's a gift, man. Be there in the moment with your spouse, with yourself, and don't get lost in the past, man. It's one of my pet peeves. I get sick and tired of hearing people say, oh, back in the day, man, we did this, and this, and it's just not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. It's better now. So with that said...
Yeah, none of us are the same. I mean, thinking that either one of us, I can look back in pictures and you used to have brown hair. But I look back at pictures and I didn't have stretch marks. So, straight up there. Neither one of us, and the thing is, but those are things that make us, special to one another.
So think about this. Speaking of stretch marks, let's kind of use this as an example. Are they attractive? No, not necessarily. But here's what I think about every time I see that. I think I'm responsible for that. I helped make that happen. I was there in that process, and that was part of her sacrifice for me to provide me with a family, right? And me disrespecting that is horrendous. So
that you're remembering,
you're
keeping it grounded by remembering, hey,
Yeah, remember why those things happened. I was there. I was the cause for a lot of it, right? Now, the gray hair, I'm still waiting for her to take responsibility.
Oh, well, maybe I've added a couple.
Come on. How many?
I'm pretty sure that it's the kids that have done that, not me.
Woman, please. So anyway, tonight's about I always work harder when. I know for myself, I always work harder when my wife is in the room. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I go speak professionally, if I go speak to 5 kids or 5,000 people, I always do better when she's in the room. I always look for that approval. I always look for that that good job, and I always look for the critique too. What did you see? You know me better than anybody else in the world. What did I miss, and what can I do better next time? So remember to respect that. And I encourage you now to kind of think back and remember the feeling. What was it like your first 6 months in marriage? What was it like the first week dating your spouse 20 years ago, whenever that was? And let that fuel you to bring that feeling back. And remember, it takes effort. Set up. I'm pumped because 2 years ago, Glenn Ann and I did something we had never done before. We had never left our kids for anything. And we took about 3 days, and Lexi watched the little guys, our oldest daughter watched the little guys, and we just went away together for like 3 days. Just kind of refreshed, hung out. We went and hiked and talked and said, man, next year we got to do this again. And then last year it was so good that last year, a year ago, we didn't do it. We were so busy, we just didn't do it. And so I'm pumped because they told Glenn Ann at the beginning of this year, if the world is falling apart, we're leaving for a couple of days together. And so we're heading out in a couple of days just to get it, 2 or 3 days together. So I'm excited about that. But the point of that is it takes effort. It takes some effort. It takes trust with your team and your people and knowing what's going on. But it takes effort, man. And you got to be willing to put forth that effort and make it happen and invest not only in yourself, but invest in each other. So that's our thoughts for the night. I think we all, and the reason I said I work hard to win is because I think we all work hard to win. Someone in the room is in the room that we love. And we're looking for that acceptance, that feedback, that, hey, I'm proud of you for what you did. It always makes it light years better when you get that. And remember the feeling. What was it like when things were fresh? And what can you do to make things fresh? Surprise her, shock her. I'm horrible at these things, absolutely awful. But it's a work in progress, and after 26 years, she's still hanging in there and being patient, waiting for me to get better at it. So that's her sacrifice. So, with that said, you got any other thoughts on that?
No, I think it's awesome.
Hey guys, we love you guys. Hope you enjoy it.
Are we going to be on next week with spring break?
Next week, I haven't planned that far ahead. We're off on spring break, so I'll make some posts.
We'll
and
make
let
a
everybody
post
know.
and let you guys know for
I
sure.
think we should be just jump on for a few minutes from wherever we're at. We'll make something happen.
Sure we have
but
service.
if we have service, we may be where we don't have. So verse for the night, Ephesians 5:25. For husbands, this means love your wives just as Christ loved the church. Okay, so I want you to hear this. Just as Christ loved the church, what did he do for the church? He gave up his life for her. Okay, he gave his life for her. So one of the daily things that I read to myself that I actually stole from someone else is that I love my wife and I'm willing to give my life for her every day. And I remind myself of that every day. I'm here to serve her. So you guys go have an awesome night. Be married like a champ. Like it, share it, comment. Let us know where you're from. If you have thoughts for topics or questions or anything else, jump in and let us know. Thanks for jumping in, guys.